Hi friends, it's Monica, and today it's September 1st, it's Labor Day, and I am live with you today. And let's see, I think the camera's okay for right now. I hope you guys had a good August. Mine was a little bit crazy, so I know I did a terrible job of keeping you informed in August, plus I think I canceled nearly everything. I did manage to get in the Turtle-y Sweet Scrapbooking class this past weekend, so I decided today I'm going to share some tips on this scrapbook kit and show you what all is included. Tomorrow, Tuesdays are usually when Stampin Up gives us all of our updates. So tomorrow I will be, I'll probably film a video for you to go over everything that's happening in September, just in case they throw something else out there. I do know a couple things starting on, and everything is starting on the 3rd, which is Wednesday. So one thing is the mini catalog will be live. So hopefully you got yours in the mail. This is the September to December 2025 mini catalog. So it's got all the holiday stuff in there. Along with that is a new release of online exclusive products. Those will also be available on the 3rd. It's also some holiday and other things, fall and some other stuff in there. So that's coming up. There will be 2 new kits coming out. And the registration for World Card Making Day will open up as well. So I'll go over those things in a little more detail in the video for the month of September, which I'll wait and do tomorrow, because if anything else is happening, Stampin' Up will let us demonstrators know tomorrow. All right, Turtle-y Sweet Scrapbook Workshop Kit. So this one is actually in our annual catalog. Let's see if I can find what page it's on. Here it is. It is on page 16 and 17, and this one features flip-flaps, which look like this. So I'm going to show you how the flip-flaps work and a couple different ways that you can add these to your pages. Along with that, there is also a suite of products that coordinate with this kit. Let's see if I can find that in here. I should have marked it. I know it's nearby. There it is. So there's a whole suite. These little turtles are adorable. So this is just your regular Stampin' Suite with stamp set, dies. There's a embossing folder, the paper pack. Some of this paper we're using on the scrapbook page, but there's some others in here. There's some embellishments and some ribbon, and here are some more pages, cute for a birthday party. And then one of the papers you can make scenes with to put on your card fronts. That's the regular paper pack. And then you can also get an additional stamp set to use in your scrapbooking that coordinates along with the package of the 2-toned cardstock, or you can get just the designer series paper along with the sticker sheet that we'll be using in the scrapbook kit. So there's multiple ways to get these turtles and the turtle products. All right, so let's just take a look at what is in one of these kits. or in this one in particular. Let's see if I can open this up. So you get your instruction sheet, then you get your pattern papers. So you've got all the double-sided papers. Those should match up to papers in the regular paper pack. Then these are single-sided. These are exclusive to this scrapbooking kit. So these two, the clouds and this grid, are not part of the regular paper pack. Then you've got a bunch of two-toned cardstock. Those are the ones with the white core and the lighter and darker side, along with the white. So we've got that. Let's see if I can get. So you'll use all those for your cutting. You've got your photo place card holders. You have, this is the sheet of stickers. So you can get the full pack of designer series paper along with a sticker sheet if you want it. And these are the die cuts that come in the scrapbook kit. And again, the die cuts are labeled on the back with which project they belong to. So that is nice. All right, let's see if I can put this back together. And then I've made some notes. You know, sometimes there's things in these instructions that are either errors or confusing. So I am going to try to clarify that for you guys. All right, let me move this down here. All right. So when I work on these kits, I try to take and make 3 piles for myself. I personally start with the base sheets and make the 3 piles and then add everything on top. You could just do your cutting and then pull in the base sheets later if you don't have that much space. This also tells you which size photos you need on each layout. And then you have, on this one, you've got some information about these flip-flap pockets. So this is what a pocket looks like. It opens up like this and it has an adhesive strip. So when you're using your pocket, usually you would want this slit on the underside so that your photos wouldn't slide out. So what this is telling you is your adhesive strip, your photo slit is on the underside, and then when you're putting this down, you're going to fold this underneath, pull off that white strip, and you're going to adhere it down like that. Okay, we have several sizes. This particular set of projects is using the 4x6. Now, there's a QR code here, and I tried scanning it and I could not get it to work. So I think somewhere there's a video from Stampin' Up about the flip-flaps, but I didn't have any luck finding it, and I couldn't get that QR code to work. So we'll have to figure that out later. All right, so a couple things. Really just this first page that you cut, and it is these stripes with the turtles. So I think they messed this part up. So, because when I look at this piece, so somehow something isn't right here. So I had to make myself a bunch of notes to get my brain to work correctly. I think these photos are flipped, or this is flipped. Anyway, because according to this, the stripes, when you go this way, your turtles are going that way, and so that picture is wrong. So these pictures are reversed. But for the layout, we aren't using the turtles, so our concern is the stripe side. And I think probably if they had just reversed these two images, everything else would have been okay. But you're wanting to cut both striped sheets into 8 inches by 8.5 inches. And if you're following the image here, then you need to do 8. Typically the first number is this cut this way, or this measurement going this way, and then the second measurement is the one going that way. So if that's the case and you're following the photo, then you need to reverse, you need to flip-flop what you're labeling these, because you want this stripe that's going this way to be 8 inches wide and 8.5 inches long, and then the one that's going in this direction, 8 inches wide and 8.5 inches long. It won't really matter. They did the layout with the stripes going in opposite directions on the 2 pages, but if your stripes go in the same direction, that works too. All right. The rest of these I just cut, and I usually check them off as I go along. Remember, if it has an asterisk, that means you're going to be using the back side versus the front side, so you want to label the opposite way. And then these always have your lights and darks. You could always change your light and dark. If they're using light and you prefer dark, switch it, and then vice versa. You could do it either way. All right, so to me, I felt like the hardest layout was the first one on here, which was the green one, and I think it was because these stripes were messed up in that diagram. So let me show you. Here's the finished 2-page spread, and the flip flap is here on this first layout. So this allows you to have one photo here, one photo here, and another photo there. So that's 3 4x6 photos that you would have right here. And so you can see where here's my strip that I put down, and here's my pocket opening. So I've just attached it to the top of this piece. Okay, so when you're putting this page together, since these were 8.5 inches wide by 8, they were 8 by 8.5. Honestly, I think it would have just been easier to make them 8 by 8 squares, and then you wouldn't have had to worry about which direction they're going in. But the 8 inches is going this way and matching up to this soft seafoam piece underneath. And the same on the second page, your 8 inches is going top to bottom, and your 8.5 is going long ways. So that was the only confusing part in this whole project, was getting this piece the correct size in the correct direction, and I think it was because their drawing, their imagery got flip-flopped. All right, so this is what the first layout is, and then the other tip I would have for you is where you put this little bird right here. Just make sure if you're using the flip-flap, you can flip that up, that your bird isn't overlaying that and ends up where you're bending him. Okay, now that's one way to use the flip-flap, is to put it directly on your page like this. But what will happen then is that you will need to alter your page protector in order to be able to use that flip-flap, because when you put this in here like so, now you can't reach it, so you have to cut your page protector. So I'm going to come and show you that in just a second, The other option, if you don't want to do that, is what I did here on, this is the second layout. And on this one, my flip flap is here, but what I've done is I've put my page into the page protector first, and then I adhered the flip flap to the outside of the page protector. So now you've got room for extra pages here, or extra photos here. So if you are making these pages ahead of time and you don't know if you're going to need more photos, then you can leave this off, and then when you come back and actually put photos on here, you could add this to the outside. You could also come back and add it in there on the inside and cut your page. But so the difference is one is on the inside and one is on the outside. For me, I don't think it lays, this one on the outside, I don't think it lays down as nicely. I'm going to show you one that's done. So this is the last layout, and this one is on the inside, and I've cut a slit, and I will show you that in a minute, how to do that on that first page. So what you can see here, if I take this out, I have a slit that I've cut to allow this flip flap, which is on the inside, to flip through. So when you put your page in, after you've cut your slit, you're going to slide that in. Like that. And so for me, I feel like that lays down better than this does. But that's just my opinion of that. But that gives you two options. So let me look at my notes and see what other tips I have for you. After you get that first page done, the second one. All right, my tip for you on here is on this page. If you want this banner to be over your photo here, and you don't have your photo, just add one dimensional under each end, and don't put any adhesive under here. That will allow you to be able to slide your photo underneath that corner when you add your photo. And then the other piece is that this strip, this is one long sticker, and you'll have to trim it to fit. You'll cut it into two pieces and then trim it to fit on your page. Okay, so that's the second layout. Look how cute and fun that is, that turtle popping out of that birthday cake. So that's that one. And then this one is the beach. Fun at the beach. Perfect for summer. And let's see, I didn't have any notes for this one outside of what they've already got in here for you. So the flip flap is over here, and I've cut it. So that's the third layout. So let me go back to the first spread, and I'm going to show you how to cut for this flip flap. So first of all, make sure that you've got it in the page protector in the correct direction. So mine is going to be here, left to right. Actually, maybe I should do it. Well, we won't. If I was going to put all of these back to back to back, then I actually want to use one of the other page protectors, but maybe I should do that. So let's say, for example, I'm going to have So I've already cut this one, right? And then this page is gonna go actually in this sheet. That one's gonna go there, and then this one, okay, I do need a new one because that one's gonna go there. So we'll do that. All right, so I have this slid, I slid this in, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my piercing tool on my take your pick tool, and I'm gonna poke a hole, a little hole right at the top of where that flip flap is, right there, just to mark it. And then I'm gonna pull that out. And I don't know that you can see my marks on the camera, but I have one mark right there, and I have one mark right there, and they're very tiny, so I don't think you can see them. But I'm going to be using a cutting mat, and I like this one because it has the lines on it, so I can line up on a straight line my two marks, and I am going to make them just a little bit bigger. Okay, so I've got my two marks and I have them lined up on a line on my cutting mat, and then I'm going to use a straight edge. So you need a ruler, something that you can use as your straight edge. And then you need something sharp. So if you have these paper snips with the sharp point, you can use those. You could also use the accessories for the take your pick tool. There's a cutting blade, if you're good with a cutting blade. So this works. You take this end off, and you can put this end on, and that gives you the cutting blade if you want that, or you can just use these scissors. So let me find my two spots and my ruler. So I'm going to use this. I don't know why I have better, I'm not good at handling that blade yet, so this was better for me. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to go down. There's my other mark. Okay, so there's my slit, and hopefully it fits. Let me bring my page, and I can see if it doesn't fit, then I'll just use the scissors to trim that. So I want to feed that through here. There we go, and I got it just right. I'm going to slide that all the way in. And now that I've got it all the way in, then this will flip up and down, giving you, you know, usually you end up with more photos than what'll fit on your page. So that gives you the added space to add more photos. So 2 will go in the pocket, and then 1 will go on the page. Let me slide that out. And then the photo that you put under here is going to cover that strip. I don't have a photo. Do I have a photo? I have a photo. Look, I have a photo of a turtle. So if I added a photo under here, it would cover up most of that strip. this is about the different turtles in Cobb County. I got that informative little card. So, all right, I'm going to slide this back in here. Feed this through, and we've got, like I said, we have 3x3, 4x4s, the 4x6s. We've actually got these with the adhesive at the top, and we also have some with the adhesive on this side. So you could do them either way. All right. Let me go back. So we have layout number 1. Let's see if I can get the whole thing in the camera. Got it all in there. And then this is actually the third one, project 3 with the beach. So if you had lots of photos, you could go back and you could add flip flaps, you know, on all these spaces. You could even double stack the flip flaps so that you've got, instead of 3 photos, you could have 5. There's that one. And here is the birthday layout with the party. Birthday parties, there's always lots of photos. You could also take these. Right now, these all say 4x6s, but you could do 3x4s, do 2 3x4 photos in these slots if you wanted. All right, those are my tips for you on the Turtle-y Sweet Scrapbooking Workshop layout. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.